Angela's got the talk of the town today on Channel 4. WWL TV, Channel 4, New Orleans. Eric Paulson, Sally Ann Roberts, and Don Westbrook with weather. This is Louisiana's news leader, Channel 4's Eyewitness Morning News.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us for another edition of the Eyewitness Morning News. It's a Thursday, June the 9th. This month is rolling along already.
It sure is.
Oh, by the way, Sally Ann is off again today. And Meg Ferris is filling in. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. And I was forgetful last night.
Don't forget Sally that fast. In the news, state police investigate a traffic fatality in Avondale.
Also, an earthquake rocks much of South America and parts of the U.S. We'll tell you about that.
Also, health care is being debated, and that's going to begin on Capitol Hill rather today. All
right, in business news, the economic development of the African-American culture. We'll tell you what's happening there.
Also, you know the show American Journal. Nancy
Glass. Yeah, we run on this station.
Yes, at
I think of the wee hours.
After David Letterman. Yes, yeah. I've been up sometimes. Nancy Glass, the anchor of that show, will join us.
All right, Debbie Pearson has some animals from some African animals.
Do you know what it is? The surprise du jour?
I don't know.
Surprise du week. Okay.
We'll find out later.
And also, you did an interview with Dave Barry, the.
Yeah. And we got along very well, except that we disagree on a couple of songs. Mm-hmm. And I was going to try it. He said that, what's that song that Richard Harris does? MacArthur's Park.
Yeah.
And he said it was the worst song ever. And so I disagreed, and I was going to, I called to get a copy of it yesterday and forgot to go pick it up. So we'll do that. We'll do the song tomorrow, but have Dave on today.
But first, here's Don with the first look.
A long way to go to tell that story, I'm sorry.
Don't forget Don.
Well, our headline is hot again. 94 degrees yesterday at the airport, within a degree of the record. The record at the airport today is 94. We'll be threatening that before the afternoon is over.
Oh, really? It's warm out already.
Yeah, and the chance for rain, very slim.
Okay, Don.
Very slim.
Thanks very much. Let's go take a look at the news. A fatal car crash tops our news this morning. State police say a 31-year-old man was killed last night in Avondale. Police say Calvin Silcox was hit by a car on Highway 90 and George Street just after 10 o'clock last night. Authorities say witnesses told them the driver, Willie Williams, tried to avoid hitting the man but saw him too late. No charges were filed in that accident at this time. Coast Guard officials say a shrimp boat sank last night in Lake Bourne. Officials say they got a call from the ship for Mayday. When they got there, they found 3 men on the boat in life jackets. The men were never in any real danger, though. The 30-foot shrimp boat sank in only 4 feet of water. The men were taken off the boat and flown by the Coast Guard to safety. By the way, the name of the boat is Misfortune. Governor Edwards' decision not to seek re-election may be threatening a special session. Yesterday, some lawmakers commented that the session could be cut short and controversial issues left alone until a later date. The lawmakers say the governor's announcement diminishes his political power, and now they have to reassess what's in their best interest concerning the state legislature. In a move to stop rumors of the possibility of ending the special session early, Senate President Sammy Nunes told the media it's not going to happen. He said, quote, "We are not abandoning the session. We won't leave here until the work of both the legislative bodies is done. We in the Senate have been working very closely with the governor and House leadership to make this a productive session," end quote. The Senate President also added that the work the Senate is doing is right on schedule. Progress on various crimes, video poker, and education measures, he says, are all moving along fine. Long before a Kenner youth died in state custody about 2 weeks ago, there were warning signs that the state's foster care program could be in some trouble. As Mike Longman reports, Jerome Harris' death may have been prevented if the state had paid attention to some of those warning signs.
The state had been put on notice months before 14-year-old Jerome Harris died that the system that was caring for him was in trouble. The legislative auditor here in Baton Rouge spent 10 months studying foster care in Louisiana. The report, issued back in December, warned of a potentially fatal combination of flaws, namely a lack of coordination in the system combined with too few appropriate settings to house problem kids.
They're constantly behind playing catch up, and the child's care is not consistent because one social worker may evaluate and assess one type of care, and then when another one takes over, they see the case completely differently.
By age 14, Jerome Harris had spent a full decade of his life in foster care, being shifted from one type of foster home to another. The legislative auditor warns there are many more Jerome Harrises in the system.
Of our 50 sample kids, 11 had as their permanency goals permanent foster care. So you're talking about over 20% of the kids of our sample, and if that's representative of the population, 20% of the kids that are going to be in foster care until they reach 18 years of age.
In response to the report, Brenda Kelly, the woman who oversees state foster care, complained the report was negative in tone and somewhat misleading.
We certainly feel our report is accurate, and we stand by the report. I think it stands on its own merit. And our position here is that these are not just cases, these are human beings. And we feel like that they have rights and that they deserve fair treatment by the state.
The auditor also says OCS is trying to do an almost impossible job and says state lawmakers need to come up with about $2 million to pay for more caseworkers to relieve all the confusion. Reporting from Baton Rouge, Mike Longman, Channel 4, Eyewitness News.
A New Orleans police officer has been reassigned to desk duty while investigators look into why he shot and killed a teenager Tuesday night. Officer Russell Philibert was working on an off-duty patrol on Prytanian Street when he stopped two young men on a bicycle. Police say one of the teens pulled a gun on the officer. The officer shot the teen to death. And police say 38-year-old Abu Gio Khan peacefully surrendered yesterday after holding police at bay for several hours. Gio Khan was holed up in his house on Mandeville Street. He was wanted for the murder of his wife, 33-year-old Laquieta Parker, on Monday, and for the shooting of another man who is reportedly hospitalized in critical condition. A powerful earthquake centered in Bolivia sent tremors across two continents late last night. The quake happened about 400 miles below the surface of an area near La Paz. The 7.8 magnitude quake touched off tremors in Chile, Peru, and Brazil. There are no reports so far of any casualties or major damage. The tremors were felt in South Dakota, Nebraska, California, and parts of Canada as well. Meanwhile, the death toll from the earthquake in Colombia now stands at 253. About 2,000 people are said to be homeless, and a plea has been made for international aid to the earthquake victims in Colombia. North Korea is warning Japan that joining international sanctions could mean war. Japan has said it supports sanctions to punish the communist country for refusing to allow inspections of its nuclear sites. Japan is increasingly counseling caution now. Officials say North Korea's threat could split a pro-sanctions alliance among the U.S., Japan, and South Korea. Here's a look at what's happening on Capitol Hill today. House lawmakers begin debate on whether to lift the arms embargo on Bosnia. President Clinton is urging Congress not to make such a move without international support. He says doing that would hurt the peace process. The House Ways and Means Committee meets today under a new leadership and takes up health care legislation. Congressman Sam Gibbons replaces Dan Rostenkowski, who, as you know, was forced to step down on corruption charges. A Senate panel hopes to wrap up its work on the issue by tonight. And a new probe may be in the works against the U.S. House Post Office. Republicans have negotiated a concession from the U.S. Attorney's Office that could lead to an investigation over whether lawmakers violated their own standards of conduct in dealing with the House Post Office. President Clinton is back home in Washington after an historic 8-day trip to Europe to commemorate D-Day. Mr. Clinton wrapped up things yesterday with a nostalgic trip to Oxford University. He studied there as a Rhodes Scholar and yesterday received an honorary doctorate degree in civil law. Mr. Clinton's visit caused some controversy on the campus. Some students gathered to protest the cost of his visit. The president's visit to commemorate D-Day also caused a bit of a problem back in the U.S. Authorities in Arizona say a cancer-stricken Vietnam veteran killed himself because he says he was upset by the president's visit to Europe. Reports say Ron Elliott blew himself up with dynamite in a mining town in Crown King, Arizona. Nearly 1,200 cars formed a huge profile of Donald Duck in Japan today. In honor of the cartoon character's 60th birthday, the cars were chosen from among 14,500 cars that were lined up according to their color to help create Donald's profile. I assume we'll see it. I haven't seen it so far. Have you?
No.
Okay, just checking. White cars, for example, made up Donald's feathers, and black ones formed his eyeballs. Oh, here we go. Maybe that's it. Wait, are we going to get it? Where's Donald? I'm sure he's there somewhere. That's a nice view of Japan's trees and the aerial view of, of Japan Disney.
Maybe you could describe it again.
No, it's only a visual medium. All right, it is 11 after the hour.
Here's Don with Look at Weather.
All right, we'll look at the weather. Look at our temperatures around the area. 79 degrees across the board at the airport, at Audubon, and also Slidell. Our skies are mostly clear this morning so far. Humidity high, 94%. Wind from the southwest at 6 miles per hour. The pressure, 29.94. It's holding steady. Other temperatures around the region, 77 degrees this morning in Shreveport, 76 in Monroe, Alexandria, 75. The warmest spot around is 82 degrees. Now, that's coming from both Lake Charles and also from Biloxi. It's 76 in Lafayette, 77 in Baton Rouge, 71, that's about the lowest, in Macomb, Mississippi, and up in Jackson, 74. Looking at our weather map, we're going to have a front to our north, not too close, up in Arkansas, the northern part of Mississippi and Alabama. That will be an area of likely shower and thunderstorm activity, some of which is already on the heavy side, moving all the way down into parts of northern Alabama. We'll look at the radar in a moment. But south of the front, it's just going to be a steam bath around here again today. High humidity coming up this afternoon. Temperature is going to be in the low to mid 90s around here, and our chance for rain very, very slim. I'd say 20%, maybe even less for most of us across the Gulf Coast today. A few isolated showers or thunderstorms popping up, but very few. Western part of the country looks dry today. The satellite picture indicating a couple of heavy areas of clouds in the plains, back down toward Oklahoma. Here in northern Alabama, that's where we have some very heavy thunderstorms going on. Notice across the Gulf Coast we have a few clouds to our west and some over Florida to the east, but I think we'll see considerable sunshine here today, which is going to let those temperatures really skyrocket. The radar summary from Colorado out into parts of Kansas, down into Oklahoma, even into Arkansas, Tennessee, down into northern Alabama. Some very heavy thunderstorms going on, quite gusty wind, heavy rain, even some hail being reported in those thunderstorms. Across our part of the Gulf Coast, very little going on. And I think weather-wise, although we'll see one or two showers of thunderstorms during the afternoon, not a great many. Here's our forecast for Thursday. Skies today mostly sunny, just a chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm later on, and be prepared for the heat. 90 to 95 this afternoon. Southwest wind 6 to 12 miles per hour. Sunset at 8 o'clock. Tonight, fair skies for the most part. Lows of 72 to 77. Tomorrow, a slightly better chance, but still only isolated showers and thunderstorms. Highs of 90 to 95. Southwest wind 6 to 12. And sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:59.
All right, you wanted to see Donald Duck?
Yes,
we have
we did.
Donald Duck.
Let's see.
14,000 cars. There it is.
Oh,
it does look like Donald.
Wait, pull out.
Okay, and somebody went to a lot of work, so we wanted to make sure we showed that. Yeah, all cars.
Isn't that interesting?
Okay, in Japan. All right, it was worth it.
What a journalist. You get right on those stories.
Like I said, it's a visual medium.
Okay, 6:14 now. Up next, the latest business news.
Including an economic development plan sponsored by the Umoja Institute of African American Culture. After 6 now on financial markets this morning, the U.S. dollar was down against the Japanese yen in today's trading on the Tokyo Foreign Exchange Market, closing at 104.07 yen. That's down a quarter of a yen from yesterday's close. Gold opened this morning in London at $381.75 an ounce. That's down half a dollar from yesterday's close. The price of silver opened this morning up a penny in London at $5.35 an ounce. Stock market had another off day yesterday, closing down almost 6.5 points. The Dow finished the day at 3749.45. Price on the Tokyo Stock Exchange closed higher today. The Nikkei average was up more than 140 points from the previous trading session. In other business news, there's a nonprofit institute here in New Orleans that was created to help promote and conduct economic development among the African American community. It's called Umoja, and this morning the chairman of the institute, Tyrone Cyrus, is with us to explain more about their goals. Thanks for coming in, Tyrone. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
First of all, how long have y'all been around?
Umoja was legally chartered in 1981 by the late Earl Amity Sr. And since that time, we have done numerous amount of activities, grant promotions for different organizations, church groups, individuals. We have held the Black Male Forum seminars at Tulane University, SUNO. We were the first to identify the problem and to try to start doing something about.
Which pours over into the economic development of this community.
Yes, it does. And economic development of the community is something that we really are looking forward to working with as the community working with us as a whole.
Let me ask you this. There are a number of groups that pinpoint the African-American community, especially in business. What separates your group from some of the others?
Well, one of the things that separate us, Eric, is that we're not only economic development, we're involved into culture in the trade export within the communities. As we speak, we have been negotiating, talking with some Caribbean and African countries to work with us on a project that's on the board now, which is the Carver Theater on Orleans Avenue. We have just been recently donated that theater so that we can go back and restore it to its original intent, which was in the early 50s. It housed plays and movies and musical productions, which were very diversified for the African-American community. It was one of the few theaters around that did that, such of a need to the community. So we plan to take that location, and it would be like the Apollo, what the Apollo serves to New York. This theater will serve to the community of New Orleans. And as we speak, we do have over a $2 million proposal package on the table that will be awarded to us through grant foundations, through grant funding.
So in effect, you're melding the continuation or bringing back of some of the African-American heritage, but doing it in a business sense that is still good for the community as a whole.
Yes, in a business sense, and because we have groups around the city, such as the Contemporary Theater of Arts and different other groups that are supporting this effort. And at the same time, with the mayor's plan to get a lot of the youngsters off of the street, we can take them in and take their talents and refine and promote their talents. And at any given time, we can take up to 1,000 youths off the street and give them something to do.
And now, how does business get involved in some of the projects you're doing? Are you looking for business sponsors? I would assume so.
Of course, we're looking not only for business sponsors, but other community-related groups to come and support this effort, because it's not this is not only for Umoja, this is for the city as a whole. So we do have a vast majority of business leaders that are sponsoring this effort, such as the CDC with the Community Development Executive Director, Joseph Roberts. At this present time, we're speaking of getting funding from the Empowerment Zone, through the CDC. He's working extensively with us and to create this process that we're going about for us the Carver Theater project.
All right, wish you the best on it. Hope things go well for you.
Thank you very much.
Right now, it is 21 after 6, still to come. Oh, we have more information if you'd like to contact Umoja. The number is 944-9971. They'll be glad to give you any information you want about this project or any of the other projects that you all are doing. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
As we said, coming up next, morning sports news and why baby boomers should be paying more attention to their retirement plans. Here are some of the stories we're following this morning. There are no reports of casualties or major damage from an earthquake in Bolivia measuring 7.8 on the Richter scale last night. On Capitol Hill, House lawmakers begin debate today on whether to lift the arms embargo on Bosnia. And the House Ways and Means Committee meets today to take up health care reform legislation.
6:24 now in sports action. The New Orleans Zephyrs winning streak was snapped by the Iowa Cubs last night. The Zephyrs lost to the Cubs 14-6 in the American Association. The Z's dropped to 35-25 in the minor league. New Orleans heads to Oklahoma City to start another series. In the NBA, the Houston Rockets snatched the win from the New York Knicks 85-78 last night. Eric's excited. Fan over here. Houston's Akeem Olajuwon landed 28 points to seal the victory. Series Game 2 will be tomorrow night again in Houston.
You know, I stayed up as long as I could last night. Finally, the last 2 minutes, I finally dozed off. So I'm calling here, well, what's the score? All right, it's 24 minutes after 6.
Today, lots of sunshine and lots of heat for everybody.
Oh, really?
And humidity to go around as well. 90 to 95 we're expecting this afternoon. Just a chance for a few isolated showers of thunderstorms. Wind today from the southwest at 6 to 12 miles per hour. Mostly fair skies tonight. Low temperatures, not very low, 72 to 77, light southwest wind during the night. And tomorrow, a slightly better chance for a few isolated showers of thunderstorms, but still not many, and back in the 90s tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, you can feel it already.
Yep.
Thanks, Don. 6:25 now. There are about 77 million people in the baby boom generation, and retirement has been something that they haven't spent much time thinking about. John Stayer takes a closer look at how these baby boomers should be preparing.
It's just so scary, and it really didn't hit me probably until just last year.
Now that the prospect of retirement has hit home, Ginny and Mike Hubbard are scrambling to catch up. Like a lot of couples in their mid-40s, the Hubbards need to save more.
Just recently, we started to, really try and, on a monthly basis, put something away for those golden years.
Years that may be less than golden because Mike and Ginny didn't start saving earlier.
Now that it's become like a crunch, I look back and I think, God, that extra money that I just threw away on a new outfit, if I had put that in, now it wouldn't be such a struggle to save.
Financial planner Gerald Parrott says the solution for boomers is simply to save more.
The person who sets aside a few dollars in their early 20s is probably much more ahead of the person who sets aside a few $1,000s in their mid-50s.
Still, baby boomers are finding that saving for retirement is very tough, and figuring out how much you need to save can also prove to be difficult. According to U.S. News and World Report, if you are 48 years old and you want $30,000 a year during retirement, you'll need $1 million nest egg. If you want $50,000 a year, you'll need $1.7 million. Big numbers, but not necessarily out of reach.
We recently had a financial plan done, and sort of to our amazement, it came out that we were pretty much on target, that we weren't far below, what we should be, and so that made us feel pretty good.
Social worker Karen Quinn is more prepared for retirement than most of her peers. She and her husband started saving early. After getting some guidance from a financial planner, their finances should be in good shape.
I hope that we will have those golden years and that we'll have enough money. And like I said, once we had the financial plan done, it made me feel a lot more confident.
That plan came from Jeff Forasek at Money Mines in Glenview, Illinois. He says more baby boomers could get on the right retirement track if only they took their retirement years more seriously.
It's sad but true that people will spend months planning their vacation. They'll spend maybe 2 weeks planning their retirement.
John Stayer, CBS News, New York.
And surveys have found that baby boomers are saving about 1/3 of the rate required for secure retirement.
And they showed that you need $1 million for that $30,000 a year. That'd be only getting 3% on your money. I was going to say, give it to me, I'll invest it, keep the 3 or 4 extra percent, and give them the 30.
Or maybe they're concerned that by the time us baby boomers are that age, that we'll only be getting 3%, Eric.
I don't know.
Who knows? 6:28 now. Coming up in the next half hour, popular columnist Dave Barry talks about his latest funny book with Eric.
All right, and in the garden, Dan Gill has advice on straightening those droopy plants. Good morning once again. Thanks for joining us for the second half hour of the Eyewitness Morning News. It is a Thursday, the 9th day of June. I'm sorry, and Sally Ann's off today, and Meg Ferris is feeling it. I don't know why I've got a mental block on that.
So laughing at you cutting up during the commercial break. After the news, we'll talk with Dave Barry about his new book. You spoke with him. What is...
Very nice guy. Just a pleasure to talk to. Could have gone on for hours talking to him.
And of course, that's what Dave's World, the TV sitcom, is based on.
Yeah. All right, we'll have weekly garden tip from Dan Gill. This time he's talking about those drooping plants, a big problem.
And our People in Entertainment report. And Steve Miller will have traffic. Don will have the weather. But first, here's Eric with the news.
All right, Meg, thanks very much. A powerful earthquake hit South America last night. The quake measured 7.8 on the Richter scale. Reports say it centered deep in the earth in a remote area, so little damage is expected. So far, there are no reports of any serious injuries. By the way, in the U.S., the quake was felt in South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, and in West Virginia. The tremors were also felt as far away as Toronto, Canada. In Colombia, the death toll for Monday's deadly earthquake that triggered an avalanche has claimed at least 253 lives. Colombia's president is urging international aid for his people. North Korea is now threatening war with Japan. Reports say North Korea today warned Japan that it risks war if the Tokyo government joins in proposed international sanctions against the communist country. Japan has said it supports sanctions to punish North Korea for refusing to open its nuclear program to international inspection. Here at home, state police say 31-year-old Calvin Silcox was killed last night after he stepped in front of a car on Highway 90 in George Street, that's in Avondale. Police say no charges were filed against the driver, Willie Williams. A fishing trip turned fatal for a New Orleans man when his small boat was hit by a barge. Good morning once again. Thanks for joining us for this last half hour of the Eyewitness Morning News. It's Thursday, the 9th day of June. This 2 hours is flying by. Sally Ann is off again today on vacation, and Meg Ferris is filling in.
That's because we're having fun. After the news, we'll take a peek at the upcoming movie, City Slickers. Actually, this is City Slickers 2.
Yeah.
I love City Slickers, the original.
Can't wait to see this, yeah. They said this, and the ads say this is better, but what else will they say?
You know, I wonder if your wife feels this way. It kind of made me want to, like, send my husband out, to go rope a steer.
People often want to send me out, so it's just... Debbie Pearson is in with some African animals. She's got a whole bunch of stuff and helpers and all kinds of things.
Yeah, and some
People
dead things,
gloves.
too, over there. Fossil-like things over there.
No, it's just a hibernating animal.
No, there's
it's a bone. I'm
bone
kidding.
stuff. Steve Miller has traffic. Don will have the weather, but first here's Eric with the news.
All right, Meg, thanks very much. State Senate President Sammy Nunes says there is no truth to a rumor that the special legislative session in Baton Rouge now could be cut short. That speculation apparently came about when Governor Edwards announced on opening day that he would not seek re-election. Because of that, Edwards may not be at all the sessions. Senator Nunes says lawmakers will not abandon the session until the long list of topics has been addressed. State police say 31-year-old Calvin Silcox died last night after he was hit by a car on Highway 90 and George Street, that's in Avondale. Police say no charges were filed against the driver, Willie Williams. Witnesses say Williams tried to avoid hitting Silcox, but apparently saw him too late to avoid striking him. An earthquake measuring 7.8 on the Richter scale hit South America last night. Reports say the tremor centered deep in the earth in an unpopulated area. No injuries have been reported so far and no major damage thus far. The powerful quake was felt as far north as Canada and parts of the U.S. Meanwhile, the death toll will undoubtedly rise from Monday's powerful quake in Colombia. Colombia's government says the death toll now has reached 253. About 1,500 people are still unaccounted for, and 1,000 or so, 2,000 possibly, have been left homeless. That country is seeking international aid in helping its people after that devastating quake. China says sanctions against North Korea could have some devastating consequences. The Chinese Foreign Ministry says it continues to favor diplomacy over economic sanctions to get North Korea to open its nuclear sites to international inspection. On Capitol Hill, work resumes on the health care reform bill. The panel is to go over opening Medicare to the poor and uninsured. Florida Democrat Sam Gibbons also takes over today as the new House Ways and Means Committee chairman. That position, as you know, was held by Illinois Democrat Dan Rostenkowski, who was forced to step down after he was indicted on corruption charges. There could be a new investigation into the U.S. Post Office. The U.S. Attorney's Office could look into whether lawmakers violated their own standards of conduct in dealing with the Post Office. You'll recall this is not the first time the U.S. House Post Office has been looked into for irregularities. And a panel of experts says Americans are not getting enough calcium to prevent brittle bones as they grow older. Because of that, some 25 million Americans are said to be affected by osteoporosis. Eugenia Halsey has the story.
62-year-old Elizabeth French found out she had brittle bones or osteoporosis the hard way.
I stepped down into my sister's sunken living room a distance of 5 inches and broke my ankle and my foot. And that was my first clue.
Now, both she and her daughter Jean are trying to prevent further bone loss by eating lots of calcium-rich foods like yogurt and milk.
I realized that I was at a high risk of osteoporosis because it's hereditary too, and that if I was going to do something about it, the time is now to prevent it.
But most Americans aren't doing enough to prevent it, according to a panel of experts convened by the National Institutes of Health.
A large percentage of Americans fail to meet currently recommended guidelines for calcium intake.
The panel is particularly concerned about young girls aged 6 to 11. They're getting even less calcium than they did a decade ago.
We want to focus on our children because this is a time when they are maximally accruing calcium in their skeleton and have the greatest opportunity to achieve peak bone mass.
The panel says the latest research suggests that most age groups need even more calcium than the government recommends. It says children, teens, and young adults should get the calcium equivalent of 4 to 5 cups of skim milk a day. Women aged 25 to 50 should get about 3 cups a day. Postmenopausal women between 3 and 5 cups a day, and men about 3 cups a day. Although peak bone mass occurs by about age 30, people start to lose bone as they get older and need enough calcium to keep what they have. The panel says the best source of calcium is food, including skim milk, yogurt, certain cheeses, and spinach.
For teenagers and young adults, we ask them to continue on milk. Yes, you can have your soda once in a while, but let's get the calcium in milk and yogurt and other sources.
For those who can't get enough calcium that way, the panel says supplements and calcium-fortified foods do help. It also recommends estrogen for many postmenopausal women and weight-bearing exercise for everyone. Experts say osteoporosis can be prevented, but only if the public gets the message. Eugenia Halsey, CNN, Washington.
President Clinton this morning is sending some top military and foreign policy advisors to Capitol Hill. Reports say the administration is ready to fight a plan to lift the arms embargo on Bosnia. The president wants the backing of NATO before the embargo is lifted. And it's a dream come true for some San Diego elementary school students. Look at their principal there. They got to hit their principal in the face and everywhere else with the pie. It wasn't that he was bad. He just lost a bet. His students read 6,000 books in one school year after he bet them that they couldn't, they did, and he's paying the price. Watch this pie. Oh, my gosh. With a vengeance. All right.
Oh, that's
Didn't you
great.
dreamt about doing that when you were a kid?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Still ahead, down to the forecast.
And Billy Crystal goes west once again in City Slickers 2.
We are way out west now, so we are past where the sun sets.
You can't be past where the sun sets. And if you think you can, then I am directly south of an idiot.
She always wears a wig. Her own daughter's only seen her real hair.
Twice, maybe. In 25 years.
He struggles to comb that little bit of hair over his head.
When I'm driving the car, I have the top open, my hair goes up.
Her own husband's never seen her without makeup. What, do you get up before he does?
2 hours.
So we sent them backstage to take it all off.
Totally no makeup?
Will they do it? Would you? Watch the next Oprah.
Today at 3 on Channel 4.
All right, timekeeper.
7:39 now.
And Donna's in.
Weather keeper.
Feels hot out already this morning.
It is, and it's going to feel hotter before this day is over.
All right.
Look at our temperatures around the area this morning. 75 degrees now at New Orleans International, 80 degrees at Audubon Park, 76 in Slidell, partly cloudy skies, humidity 100% this morning, and the wind near calm. Our pressure 29.98 and rising. Other temperatures 76 degrees in Shreveport, Alexandria, Monroe, and also Baton Rouge. 80 degrees right now in Lake Charles. Lafayette reporting 77, 73 in Jackson. The coolest spot is Macomb, Mississippi at 71 degrees. The warmest spot 82 in Biloxi, Mississippi. Here's our weather map. We have a front to our north and a front to the west. I'm not sure either of those fronts will ever get through here. I think probably not. But they will be the focus for some of the most intense weather across the country. Intense thunderstorms have already begun to develop along and just to the north of that stationary front. We have a chance here across the Gulf Coast for a few showers of thunderstorms, but not much of a chance. About a 20% chance today for isolated showers of thunderstorms spread across the Gulf Coast. Lots of moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, and with the afternoon heating, and it's going to be hot, we expect to squeeze out just a few showers and thunderstorms. But the humidity is going to be high. It's going to be very much like a sauna around here this afternoon. The western part of the country under the influence of high pressure, lots of sunshine, very few clouds. The satellite picture this morning indicating generally clear from Oregon all the way down to Southern California, over to the Four Corners area. Across the Gulf Coast, we see a few clouds around Florida, some clouds in central and eastern Texas, western Louisiana, but we're also seeing considerable gaps in that cloud cover. That's going to allow us to get enough sunshine to let those temperatures really jump during the afternoon. Notice these bright clouds in the Central Plains, also down into Oklahoma and in northern Alabama. That's where we're seeing some very heavy thunderstorms this morning, with a number of areas reporting hail. Across the Gulf Coast, a few showers to our east, but very little going on so far. Here's our forecast for today. Mostly sunny and hot, with a few isolated showers of thunderstorms. 90 to 95 this afternoon. Wind from the southwest, 6 to 12 miles per hour. Sunset at 8 o'clock tonight. Mostly fair. Lows of 72 to 77. Light southwest wind during the night. And tomorrow, a partly cloudy Friday, a slightly better, we'll say 30% chance for isolated showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. In the 90s again tomorrow afternoon, with southwest wind 6 to 12 miles per hour. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:59.
All right, Don.
All right,
thanks very
Don,
much.
thank you. 7:42 now. Those reckless range riders from the city are back in the saddle again, led, of course, by Billy Crystal. As Andy Culpepper reports, City Slickers 2 rides into movie theaters this weekend.
Billy Crystal and company go west again, this time in search of lost treasure in the sequel to City Slickers, the comedy that hit pay dirt for Crystal and won an Oscar for Jack Palance 3 years ago. In the original, Crystal's character Mitch is a dude from the city looking for an adventure. Palance played a cowboy paid to lead them on one before he died suddenly on the trail.
Curly was wrong. There are two things. Whatever the hell this is, and gold.
Palance returns as well in a conveniently contrived plot twist you'll forgive. He's Curly's twin brother, Duke. Daniel Stern is back as Mitch's goofy friend, Phil. They're joined by Mitch's brother from hell, Glenn, played by John Lovitz.
But we are way out west now, so we are past where the sun sets.
You can't be past where the sun sets. And if you think you can, then I am directly south of an idiot.
Look for much more action mixed in with the hijinks this time around. And if it looks like the actors are actually performing many of the stunts, that's because they are. At one point, a mule knocked Crystal over. The injury resulted in surgery on his pitching arm.
Yeah, it was pretty dangerous, but audiences are so sophisticated now, Andy. They know when you cut to a stuntman. And I don't want that when I do it. If I can physically do it, I'm going to do it.
One of the best stunt sequences involves as many as 350 wild horses in a rollicking stampede over scenic southern Utah vistas.
The scariest part was probably the stampede sequence when we're in the midst of these crazy horses that are running full speed, and you're on a horse, and your horse is desperate to run with those horses, and you're saying, we've got a close-up to do here. Please don't run as the other horses run away. And, you know, I mean, that was a little scary.
The wagon hit a bump, and I went flying up in the air and about 3 feet and landed and broke the whole bench. But that's because I was heavy, because I gained, you know, about 30 pounds for the role, because I thought, well, if Robert De Niro can do it, you know, I should.
Well, actors suffer for their art. But City Slickers 2 offers as many laughs as it does stunts. And contrary to many sequels to popular summer hits, this second chapter may equal or even top the first go-round if early critics are on the money. I'm Andy Culpepper reporting.
By the way, City Slickers 2 opens nationwide Friday. Can't wait to see that movie.
I know. I'm glad to hear that there's a sequel that's actually better than the original.
All right, maybe they'll do City Slickers 3, 4, and 5. As the baby boomers grow old. Yeah.
Like Rocky 15.
All right, it's 7:45 now. Still to come, Debbie Pearson in her weekly visit from the Audubon Zoo.
This morning, she's brought a collection of African animals.
Here are some of the headlines we're following this morning. In South America, a powerful earthquake measuring 7.8 on the Richter scale hit a remote area last night. No reports of any injuries or severe damage at this time. In Philadelphia, hospital officials say separated Siamese twin Angela Lakeberg died this morning. She was only 11 months old. And state police are investigating a fatality last night, an accident where a man was hit by a car in Avondale.
7:48 now. It's Thursday morning, so it must be Debbie and the zoo. But really, this morning you got a whole crew. What's going on was it African Week or something?
Well, it's quite a crew we have here this morning, but we're looking for more folks. Actually, we're having an orientation next Tuesday morning at the zoo to bring in more volunteers to show people what it is we do. And it's sort of an open house to let you see what kinds of things we do at the zoo. So we've brought along some examples of some of the kinds of things we share with visitors at the zoo when they come.
Okay, well, why don't we start with what's here on the table? All this is elephant.
Yes.
This is elephant hide?
That's an elephant ear. That's an elephant hair, even though it might feel like weed eater wire, it's an elephant hair.
Absolutely, it does.
From Panya, one of our females at the zoo.
Wait, this is the whole thing is an ear? This is
That's an ear, quite a large ear. The elephants use it as a radiator, and of course it's very large in surface area.
Isn't that?
That's from an African elephant. Most of these items were confiscated from poachers or from people who tried to smuggle them in. For instance, the tusk.
Right.
That's a big tusk that somebody tried to smuggle into New Orleans from Korea.
And I've seen shows lately where they're starting to kill the males so young, even when they have small tusks, and that they're going to have all these females and no male elephants left in Africa.
It's still a very serious problem. So we bring things like this out not only to show people what an elephant skin feels like, or what a tusk might feel like, or a molar tooth.
This is one molar tooth?
That's a molar tooth from an elephant. It's quite impressive. But also to give people an idea of what's going on with wildlife, give them a closer look. And of course, our volunteers are invaluable in that respect.
This is a carving from ivory?
Yes. This is actually a femur or a leg bone, very heavy. About a third of an elephant's femur or leg bone. And the bone in front of it is a human femur, just for comparison's sake.
I've gotten to the point, Debbie, when I go into stores and they sell ivory, and if I know the person, I have to ask them not to. After seeing footage on like PBS shows, and this is what?
That's the human femur, just for comparison's sake.
Oh, okay.
We usually like to let kids hold that up, try to figure out what part of their body that comes from, and then compare it to the elephant.
This is a
bone.
real human femur?
It's a cast. Most folks don't want to hold a human bone, so it's an exact copy.
Yeah, because it feels a lot thinner.
Of course, the elephant bones are all real. And these guys have some live animals, of course. We have living and non-living presentations at the zoo. And we employ a lot of live animals and talented volunteers to...
Well, let's hear about the hedgehog.
Well, this hedgehog is from Africa, and he eats lots of insects, and it's one of the really cool animals at the zoo that we get to handle, that volunteers get to handle.
And I'm shocked, its entire spines, this isn't soft at all, and he curls up in a ball or something?
Right, that's his self-defense, and his stomach is very soft, and so he would want to keep that protected from predators.
So what eats him?
Foxes, and actually they have a very interesting way. They'll either roll them into water to get them to try to swim, or they'll urinate on them to get them to unroll.
To unroll, but how do they get past the spine?
Well, they go for that stomach.
Oh, okay. Okay. And this seems, adorable and cuddly, although it's very prickly. Not make a good pet?
No, it wouldn't. It's very hard to feed, and as you can see, they're constantly moving around and trying to get away.
Right. Interesting. And what kind of snake is this over here?
This is a ball python. It's also from Africa, and it's a full-grown male that was probably a pet that was discovered and caught. And these pythons they lay eggs. They're old world animals as opposed to a boa.
And pythons are all constrictors.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right.
Not poisonous, is that right?
Right.
And explain to people, a lot of people don't know why snakes constantly are putting their tongue out.
That's how they smell. That's what they use to smell the air or whatever's in front of them.
And I understand that snakes see heat. In other words, when they see you, that they see more like, your head radiates a lot of heat, and that's how they know where food sources is by heat coming off. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, many snakes have heat-sensing pits on the side of their jaw, which help them sense heat. And that's how they track down hot-blooded little animals like mice or rats.
I grew up, I have a brother who had several pet snakes. Now, I never understood the attraction as a pet, though, Debbie. Do they make, because they're not, they don't respond back.
That's true. That's true. They're not affectionate, but they're very quiet and clean, very simple to care for if you pick the right species.
And not slimy like people think.
Not slimy a bit.
Okay.
And these guys really help us out in terms of letting people see a closer look at the animals.
Okay.
And so if you're interested in coming and participating.
Well, we have a graphic that we want to put up for everybody for when it is.
Next Tuesday evening.
Okay.
And we invite everyone to come.
Great.
And see what it's like to be a zoo volunteer.
And they can call the zoo. Thank you, and thank you, gang. We'll be back with a final word right after this.
6 now before the hour. Here's a final check of Thursday morning traffic with Steve. Steve Miller.
Thank you, Eric. At the high rise, we're looking at delays now around Dwyer. Not bad at all there. And inbound from St. Bernard Parish, very light delays at the Industrial Canal crossings, 2 ferries in Chalmette, 1 at Canal. We have no Jackson-Gretna ferry this morning. And next, a look at Metairie and the Crescent City connection. Metairie delays are at Transcontinental, Crescent City Connection Toll Plaza lines back to General de Gaulle. And a breakdown just reported. It's eastbound I-10 at the peak of the high-rise in the right lane. It's a bus. Drive carefully. I'm Steve Miller. Eyewitness Morning News, Traffic Watch.
All right, Steve, thanks very much. It was good.
All right, and here's Don.
All right, today it's going to be hot, going to be humid. Somebody may see a shower, but I don't expect many. A few isolated showers and thunderstorms. Chances today only about 20% with considerable sunshine. Highs today 90 to 95, southwest wind 6 to 12 miles per hour. Sunset at 8 o'clock. Tonight, fair, mostly warm and humid. Lows of 72 to 77, light southwest wind. Tomorrow, a slightly better chance for rain, but still only isolated showers and thunderstorms, about a 30% chance. Temperatures in the low 90s again tomorrow with southwest wind at 6 to 12 miles per hour. Sunrise in the morning, 5:59. The extended forecast indicating chances for rain increasing a bit on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but still below 50%. Our marine forecast today, wind out of the Gulf from the south and southwest at 8 to 15 knots. Seas offshore running 2 to 4 feet, just a light chop on the area lakes, unless one of those isolated thunderstorms catches you later on. Here are the tide times for today, expecting a tide range of 1.5 feet. That lake water temperature now up to 85 degrees. Even out in the Gulf, the water is standing at 82 degrees. The river at 6.3 will be falling a bit over the next couple of days.
And those percentages are all the typical summer pattern for afternoon.
Pretty much, yeah. 30 to 40% we would expect almost every day during the summer.
But in the mornings, usually you get off scot-free.
Usually.
Two of you, before you leave, you got to go hold that elephant tooth. You're not going to believe it.
Oh, the
It is
tusk?
No, the tooth.
The
No,
tooth.
the actual molar.
Oh, really?
It is very, very, very heavy and
Oh.
large. One molar.
All right. That'll do it for us today. Thanks very much for joining us.
That's right. We'll see you tomorrow.